Let's have a look at SWOT analysis then. Right, so what is a SWOT analysis? Well, very simple. SWOT is an acronym and it stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. And that's to your business or any problem set that you're trying to solve. So the objective of your analysis at all times going through this is to have a clearly defined set of goals that you're trying to achieve. So in this case, it's probably going to be something like you want to increase turnover in your business, or you want to increase the amount of employees, or something like that. But whatever you do, you have to think SMART, and this basically stands for SMART goals. So they have to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. So specific, it has to be something like Christmas Day 2025, not in the future, because that's abstract. There's no end point to that. It has to be measurable. So you can't say, I want to lose weight. It would have to be something like, I want to burn 3,000 calories, or I want to earn $10,000, or in 30 days. It has to be something that's very tangible, that's easy to measure. Also has to be achievable. If you say that you want to run the 100-meter sprint faster than Usain Bolt and you're 65 years of age, I hate to break it to you, it's unlikely to happen. That's just not realistic. It's not achievable. And the next one is realistic. So it has to be something that is realistic. Not only is it achievable, it has to be realistic. And I know they sound the same thing, but they're subtly different. You're creating an objective that's realistic to hit. So it would be achievable for you to earn $5 million in 5 years. But it might not be realistic for you to do it, because the business that you've got in the last 15 years, you've made $20. So it's probably not realistic to think that you're going to make $5 million over the next year or two with that. So realistic and achievable, they're kind of similar, but they're subtly different. And then time bound, you need an endpoint. You can't just say, I'm going to be a millionaire if you're 20, because that could leave you right up until you're 65. So you have to put an end goal on it. So it'll be something like, I want to be a millionaire by 1st of January 2026. That would be very clearly defined. You can't fake that. It's very, very simple to understand then. So when it comes to SWOT analysis, at the start of your plan, you've got to look at 4 things: who, what, why, and when. So who is it that needs the clarity on this problem? And this can be complex problems. This could be relatively simple things. But you have to identify who that person is, and somebody has to basically run this SWOT analysis. What it is, I've explained it. It's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to any kind of entity, and that it prevents you, or it helps you to achieve the objectives that you've set using SMART goals. Now, why would you do this? Well, the reason SWOT is very good is it's very simple. It doesn't take a lot of time, and I've used the example there. You could do it on a napkin in a restaurant if you're having dinner. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's not complex. And this can be used for something like, let's say you want to buy a new gadget, all the way up to the military using this to understand their missions, what the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for a mission are. So it's a very powerful tool if you use it in the right way. And when would you use it? Well, basically anytime you've got a new problem set that you need to solve, or on a regular basis when you go back and looking at an old problem to see if things have changed. And they normally do. This is not your classic one and done. The more often that you do this, then the better it becomes and the more powerful it becomes. So how do we do it? Well, very simply, there are numerous ways. The easiest way, get a sheet of paper, divide it into 4 by drawing 2 lines, one vertical, one horizontal on the page. Put an S, W, O, T in each of those 4 segments. You can now do a SWOT analysis. You can also do it PowerPoint, whiteboards. There are 101 different ways to do this, but essentially you need to divide a rectangle or a square up into 4. And then all you do is you put in your strengths. So what capabilities do you have, or what do you have access to that would assist you or your business in achieving the goals that you've set out? Real simple. What are the weaknesses? So what characteristics do you have that work against you and your end goals? And it's not just about you. This could be about your business as well. So what things does the business have that's a weakness that could go against you hitting those goals? Then opportunities. So these are things that are out with your control that can help you achieve your goals. And normally this is luck based, although you can influence a lot of things on the opportunity side. And we'll show you an example in a minute where there are some things that you can influence these opportunities. And finally, there are threats. What is going to happen out with your control that will stop you hitting those goals? And this is generally things that are bad luck. And there's another part to this, and this is the internal and external. So when it comes to SWOT analysis, internal are the things that you can control. They're directly under your control. So that would be things like your own attitude, work ethic, your skill sets, your qualifications, things like this for you and obviously for your business as well. So another strength might be something like you're the only business in your town of, 500,000 people that does what you do. So that would be a strength. That could also be a threat because that could be something that further down the line, if someone else realizes that there's money to be made, they might jump in. So there's all sorts of things there. And then the external are things that you don't always control. And a lot of the time, this is basically good or bad luck. So opportunities are good luck. Threats tend to be bad luck. Not always. I explained before that you can make your own luck to a certain degree with opportunities. You might not be able to directly control things, but you may be able to influence it. And we'll show you in an example in a second just how you can do that. So let's look at an example here of a SWOT analysis. Really simple. So we've got a generic business example here, and I've used something really random, and that is a survival training school. So this business is a survival training school that is training civilians and first responders on how to survive in the wild, basically so that they can live to fight another day. So if we look through the strengths, the kind of things that we've got here, and I've made this up. This doesn't exist, this business. It's just something I thought would be fun to do. So if we look at strengths, you've got 3 military survival instructors. So that's got a lot of credibility, a lot of experience, and a lot of knowledge. They've got operational experience, which helps with that credibility even more. They've got vast amount of knowledge that's not just for civilians, but they've got a lot of military use cases that they can actually fall back on and tell the clients when they're teaching them of the things that they can do. Because they're ex-military, then they're fit and healthy. And you have a huge market growth happening due to COVID. People didn't really care about survival training. Then COVID hit and everyone realised that we've run out of toilet paper and the world is about to end. How on earth do I survive this? So there's a lot of people looking at this now as something that they want to get a little bit of training, a little bit of knowledge, so that if this happens again, they're not caught short. And the good thing is, because you've been doing this for the last 10 years, you've got a lot of gear, you've got a lot of equipment, you've got a lot of things in place already, so you don't need a lot more. Whereas if someone else wanted to come along and do this, there's quite a barrier to entry where they're going to have to spend tens of thousands of dollars just to get started. And your business is in a central area for transportation hubs. You've got an international airport, you've got a rail system, you've got buses, you've got all sorts for people coming and going, which makes it real easy for them to come in and use your training. And you have access to military SMEs. That's subject matter experts. So if there's something that comes up or you want some specialist knowledge, then your military survival instructors, although they've left the military, they've still got a lot of buddies that you can give a quick call and get an answer for you. So that's really helpful. You get the up-to-date stuff that's happening on the front line. Weaknesses, you're very impatient, very easily distracted. You get shiny object syndrome and you can be painfully headstrong. So that means you can make decisions on a whim without thinking it through and very often won't back down when you see a decision is not necessarily the best. And you do have young children, so they need your time and you want to make sure that you spend time with them. So you can't work late most nights because you've got to go home and put your kids to bed. And one of the big weaknesses is that you're business-minded, but your staff are not. All they care about is a paycheck and getting into the outdoors. They don't really care about running a business as such. So if something happens to you or you want to step back from the business, you're going to struggle there because nobody can take the reins from you. So let's look at opportunities then. The current fear of the economy is driving fresh leads and fresh business. People are panicking that Armageddon's just around the corner when the economy fails, so they're worried about what they're going to do and how they're going to survive. You have several first responder teams that are looking for extra training that ordinarily wouldn't have done this, but again, COVID's brought this to the fore for them. So that's something that you can exploit a lot, and you can use to actually contact a lot of these teams to see if you can give them some training. You live in an affluent town, so there's a lot of people with a lot of money that want to do something a little bit different that's seen as a little bit dangerous, a little bit kooky. So they'll take survival training, which is really helpful for you. You could also run corporate or themed mini courses for businesses and for people that just want to do something a little bit different, such as bachelor parties, etc. You can teach children. You can visit schools as well, which is a great recruitment tool for kids. Take flyers and leaflets home. Dad sees it, and then you can do things like lads and dads weekends or mums and daughters days, things like that. And we come over to the threats. And again, this is bad luck. These are things that are not necessarily in your control. So public opinion. Tinfoil Hat Brigade, yeah, they often look at things like, let me just disable this a second. They often look at things like prepping and survival as Tinfoil Hat Brigade, or even downright dangerous because of the stereotypes that it's people that are just hoarding thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds of ammunition. They're anti-government, etc. So that can be a threat to your business, because all you need is one or two high-profile incidents of people who fit that stereotype. It could really hurt your business. You've got lack of suitable land for larger courses because it's all owned by the government rather than private industry, private landowners, so it's difficult to get access to the land. Winter weather is far too harsh for most fun courses, so the only people that are taking on the courses during the winter tend to be first responders, so your business can be kind of seasonal. It can be difficult to get revenue in the winter. Insurance prices have increased by 48% in the last year, which is hurting your bottom line. Bureau of Land Management are potentially stopping land rental in some of the areas that you use. So when your contracts come up for renewal at the end of the year, you may not have the land that you had before. And if any of your instructors leave, then you lose 25% of your revenue per instructor because there is only 4 of you. And with that, instructors can leave and they can start their own school because you never put a non-compete clause in the contracts. So hopefully that gives you an overview. It's not something that most people would think about as a survival training school, but I wanted to do that just to show you something a little bit different. And obviously how you put this for your own business and the things that you would look at. You'll know your own business better than I will. So just fit things in there as you see fit. So an action point then, create your own SWOT analysis for your own business. Easiest way to do this is go grab a coffee or even grab a beer. It's up to you. Find somewhere quiet, sit down with a couple of sheets of paper, and all you want to do is for about 10 minutes is just brainstorm ideas of things that you would like to do, like to achieve, things that scare you about the business. Do that for 10 minutes and just write down big lists. Then get you another sheet of paper, put the 2 lines across it so it divides it into 4, put your SWOT and start looking at all the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats for your business. And don't take too long on it, 20 minutes, half an hour max. And then once you've done that, put it away for a day or two, then dig it out again, go through it again, see if there's anything else you can add or remove. And then again, sit it away maybe for a week this time, then dig it out, dust it off, go through it again, and then maybe go through that once a month. So set a reminder in your calendar or your diary to revisit this and look to see what things have changed, because you'll be surprised how often things do change. And it's really interesting if you can keep the older copies of your older SWOT analysis and see how things actually pan out as the year goes on. So hopefully that's been helpful for you. This is a really powerful tool. It's really simple. It's something that you can do literally on the back of a napkin. It's really easy to understand and it helps you out massively. So enjoy. If you get any points, questions, thoughts, then let me know and I will do my best to help you.